Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Pigskin Project YouTube. I am Matt, joined, as always, with Ben. Ben, how are we doing? He's fighting. He's fighting the Wi-Fi already.
I Dude, it was right as you clicked start. It happened, but we are back. We are here, accompanied by the cat today. I guess over my what you guys see left shoulder. I'm pumped for it. Excited. Talked with the hog mollies, the big uglies. Took a break last week. It was March Madness. How could you not? Right. But excited to get into it. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Excited to talk about these guys. I think the biggest thing with my tackles, because I think that's what most of the time will likely be spent on, because I think a ton of these guys could go in the round one. All
Mm-hmm.
these guys are going to be separated by like 20-ish spots for me. Like
Yeah.
they're this is a very like a good tackle class, which is weird because there's not like a guy. There's not a guy at the top. It reminds me of 2020. The Jed Wills and Becton and Werfs, where a ton of guys like go
Yeah.
in that core part, but there's no like over the top slam dunk. And I think there's some teams in the top six, probably three of them, would want to take one of these guys. So interested to
Mm.
see how you rank them compared to I. So you did you did plenty more guards than me. I kind of stuck to the top 75-ish players and then threw in a center just to have a center on here. Um, but where do you want to start?
Uh, do we want to just get IOL done really quickly? I mean, I think zooming. I don't want to say IOL through IOL. I would imagine that our center. You have one center ranked in your IOL, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So I'd imagine our ones, maybe it's not, but I'd imagine our one center's probably the same. Again, I have
Did your
three
center play
guys.
center?
My center played center.
Okay, then we have different guys.
Okay, my center played center and will not be playing center in 2026 because he has a torn ACL. But I actually have a second center, but he also played center as well, which is funny that we ended up here in this position. Um, really quickly, I mean, again, I had seven, you had four. Um, I don't know which guys made your cut, but Logan Jones and Connor Law were my two centers that I ended up ranking in my list. Um, Logan Jones, just like the very brief thing on him is um I hate to like helmet scout, but he's the center, the one that just got paid a boatload of money in free agency. Um Moves just like him. I mean, he has great lateral agility. His hand placement's great. That allows him to be really great in pass pro. He knows to not overextend. He knows not to reach, especially in that pass pro. Um, and he keeps his eyes up. He's really intelligent, does a good job looking for stunts and blitzes. But this guy, let me tell you, is not big. Wow, it got deleted. No, my weaknesses got deleted for him. But I digress. He's not a big guy. He's not a people mover. He can like get his butt in the hole when needed. But the big thing for him is he's a smaller guy that is just not going to be moving people. He can kind of reposition during a bull rush, but it's still something that makes you like, uh, and kind of wince when watching him. He's not going to move anyone out of the way. Um, and I'm pretty sure he's old. Like, I think he's going to be like
He's a graduate,
25.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to be like 25 going into like his rookie year. So you would expect like a 25-year-old going into his first year or something like that, or 24, I think, to be like this very big, well built like guy. and he's just not that. You're getting a very intelligent center. You're getting a guy that can move very well, like laterally, but you're not getting a guy that can move people very well. And then Connor Law was my other center that I have. His experience really shows. Like, he's the head coach, like on the football field. He was responsible for all the pass protections at Auburn and everything. He had that same lateral quickness that you love to see out of Logan Jones. That really allows him to combo block up to the second level and climb up there. And he has really good independent hand usage. He can strike with his left and then come back with your right. They're not tied together. You get to points with certain guys where you see them using both their hands at the same time, which can create for people to do swipe moves and rips and all that stuff. But he has independent hand usage that really allows him to counter well when need to. Big thing for him is he tore his ACL in October, so he won't be playing. Maybe he at the bare minimum will be missing training camp. You never know how the recovery for that stuff goes, especially for like an IOL whose calling card is like being a good mover. This dude has subpar play strength, which will not be the only one we talk about with that in this episode. And then again, with that subpar play strength, he's just going to be walked back by your big noses. Again, it's just ugly at times. But those are my two centers. They were ranked 7 and 3 for me in my IOL ranking, actually, which is funny. But who was your center?
Brian Parker out of Duke. So
I didn't watch him.
he he's played over 2,000 snaps at tackle. He's never played a snap of college at center. But everybody is kind of ranking him at center, just due to the fact that I think a lot of his strengths coincide with playing center and coincide with the guys you talked about. I thought his burst and foot speed were what are his calling cards. His hand technique combined with like just hand power, just grip strength, was very impressive, and he took on some contact. Like there were times where he's finishing a play, with some intent, and then kind of helmet scouting, like you said. But like Graham Barton did this, so this is kind of one of those things where I think the coaching goes a long way, where you can kind of take what you've done at Duke and take it to being a center. The only difference is Graham Barton was drafted in like the top 25 to play center. Brian Parker's not
Yeah.
going to be. So again, like take that with a grain of salt. And then his cons, just as simple. Like he's not big. Like he's lean. He's 6'5", has length to play on the outside compared to these centers. I think he's like 32 and 6/8 arms, something like that. With
Mm-hmm.
6'5" at center. So again, that's a huge center. But I think his lean build and his kind of strengths coincide with moving into center. Not an overly powerful player, but compared to a lot of the other centers, Lou would have been my number one center if he would have like not had an ACL tear. But I think
Yeah.
that kind of comes with it. Like you got to take that into draft. Brian
Yeah.
Parker has the frame to fill out if you want that power to kind of coincide with his strengths as a mover at center. So again, and maybe he plays guard anyway, but I was pretty impressed with him. He's been ranked all along centers across. He snapped a little bit at the combine, so I think there is some interest at him at center. And then of course, like Graham Barton doing this also just leads me to believe that teams are going to see him that way. So that was my center.
There you go. Who were your other three IOLs? I would be shocked if they weren't on there, and then I'll briefly talk about at that point the one that got left off.
I had Basantis at 3, Pregnon at 2, and Vega Ione at 1. Basantis out of A&M, kind of just a similar to the centers. He is a light player, but he's a great mover in the run game. Short area quickness out of his stance were great. He mirrors rushers. He's just an intelligent, people stopper in the pass game to me. and he never really gets ahead of himself. I think he moves as one when he's rolling, but the cons like the length. I think the length kind of limits him often enough. It shows up in the run and the pass, overextension, things like that. Just kind of the rest of his body is trying to catch up to help with his arms. That makes sense. The footwork in pass pro will need to clean up. He'll let them go away, like just to go out and make contact. That's part of like the overextension I'm talking about. And then he's susceptible to power.
Yeah.
And then Pregnon and Vega are kind of the same ish players, like just sturdy, dense built guards who are built along like around power. And those are the players that I just adore, man. Like at guard, you think back to someone I loved,
Oh yeah.
Osiris Torrance. Neither one of those guys are as big as him. Like I think he was like 340 coming out of Florida, but that was
Yeah.
someone that reminded me of these guys, just the way they're built. Um, they're both reliable in the run game. They're both really strong in their hands and their strike timing and things like that. But they're not great athletes. So neither one of you gets to be Zion Johnson to me this year. So heartbreaking for both of them. Um, but yeah, I think the biggest thing that I had with Vega, because he's the number
Yes.
one guy, I think he's probably in my top two of offensive linemen. The
Yes.
when when guys like cross his face in like the games and the stunts, when it's a really like twitchy player, he gives that up, man. And so I'm a little iffy about like when guys are crossing inside into that A gap, crossing the
He
base. I'm
I mean I'm going a step further. I mean, like the big thing I have for him is just like the heavy feet in general, like the
mhm.
lateral agility, like across the board. I mean, you touched on the main thing there with the pass pro for him is when you have like these really twitchy guys that are crossing his face. Um, I don't want to say it's a major concern, but it's the point where I'm like watching him and I'm like, your best fit is definitely not in a zone blocking scheme.
Mhm.
I think you could be functional if asked to do that, but like the lack of lateral agility like really made me wince when like thinking about dropping him into a zone blocking
What I
scheme.
imagine
Just
him in is like what the Rams have done the last few years, where they just dug deep into the mass category with Avila and
yeah,
Dotson, and even like it didn't work, but like Jonah Jackson there, and we just run duo. We just run at your face every time. Like that. That's
yeah,
kind of the scheme that I'm hoping to see him get dropped into, and that's why I think Baltimore makes a ton of sense with Ledford coming in there to like maximize his strengths. You put him on the same side as like Ronnie Stanley, and even
yeah.
I keep thinking about that. Like that's where I ideally see him, and I think you see him as the same way.
No, absolutely, absolutely. As far as Pragdon, like the couple things too that I want to cover for him is like I first off wouldn't be shocked if this dude ends up getting taken in the back end of round one. I
Okay,
see
that's
too many
awesome. I was
people.
gonna ask that at the end. All right, sweet.
Okay, there you go. Like he's just mean. Like he's a mean guy. He fires off the line of scrimmage and he's gonna finish. Like there were like made me want to stand up out of my chair. Um, also like vice grip go it's over. Um, and like I just simply because of his like being able to fire off the line of scrimmage, being able to actually move you, and because his grip strength is so strong, he's just going to he's a people mover.
Hmm.
Like at, in every definition, he's a people mover. So I loved watching him again. Would totally be fine if he got taken at the back end of round one. Um, as far as the two guys you didn't cover,
Hmm.
um, I have Kalen Rutledge out of Georgia Tech for my sixth, and then Jennings Dunker This dude's so much fun. Did you watch any Jennings Dunker? He's fun.
Yeah, there was
He's
a lot
fun.
of there was a lot of Pooney, Dominic Pooney, in him to me. Just
Okay.
that was someone that I compared him to. He was someone that probably is my fourth guard, if I had to guess. But
Yeah. He was my fourth guard. I um could see him being taken somewhere in round three, so that's why he ended up making the list for me. I mean, in that same vein that we had talked about, Vega and Pragnon, he's just mean too. He's powerful. He's violent. He's gonna create displacement. Um, he's gonna finish the blocks. And he showed, and I'm not shocked as an Iowa offensive lineman. He did play tackle for Iowa, but his best spot's going to be at guard. But he can pull. It's fun to see guys that can pull. And does that at a high level. And then he was actually able to kind of drop his ass when anchoring, which was nice. He's just what you like come to think of when you think of Iowa offensive linemen. Again, all in the same vein that we had even talked about with like Pragnon and Vega. He might be mean, he might be powerful, and might be able to move guys, but he has slow feet. He's not very explosive, and he likes to lean. So any team that has Pragnon like circled at the end of round two, early or at the end of round one, early round two, if they can't get him, I wouldn't be shocked if they just pivot to take him later on in the draft. And then the other one again was Kalen Rutledge out of Georgia Tech. This guy, kind of the same thing. Again, it was a lot of the two archetypes with this IOL class this year. Oh, my page just got messed up. That's all right. It's kind of like the two archetypes with this IOL class. You're either like this very powerful guy, or you're going to be small, quick, and speedy. And he was this very powerful guy. He doesn't give up ground in the bull rush, which makes him a very effective pass blocker as well. And he had showed the ability to climb and get up to the second and even at times the third level up to safeties, which was really, really awesome to see. Um, really, the big thing with him is he is just so technically unrefined. Like it made me want to get sick because he has like all these amazing things that he can do where he is explosive. He has powerful punches. He can reset the line of scrimmage. Again, he can protect against the bull rush. He can move and again combo block to next levels. But he's just so technically unrefined. And you're gonna have to get him into a room where someone is going to allow him to like use his feet because he's uncalculated. He's gonna stumble when he does it. When he's moving to that second and third level with the linebackers and safeties, he is popping straight up and he's gonna run at you in his full size and everything. He has just the most horrific hand placement I have ever seen in terms of just like uncalculated punches where he's gonna be hitting you way outside of your shoulder pads, which obviously gets you really susceptible to holding calls and things like that as well. He has all the power. So, I mean, if he lands it square, you're going to feel it, but he's not going to do that very often. So for him, it's just polishing a lot of the technique. I need you to get down. I need you to be more aware of where your feet are. I need you to be more aware of where your hands are at. But again, he's just a really powerful guy that can be explosive. Absolutely loved him. He was fun. I could see him also being taken at the back end of round three. But again, we zoomed through IOL there. But I mean, were there any guys that got left off that you wanted to talk about?
no, I haven't watched Jalen Farmer out of Kentucky. I know he has fans.
I know. I was gonna say a lot
Um,
of people like him.
I didn't see him. I need to go back and watch Rutledge. So again, that's IOL kind of was limited. I wanted to focus on the guys who were at the top once we get deeper into just want to cover all our bases on the top guys so we could figure out these position rankings for right now. But I'll go back and definitely Rutledge sounds like a guy that I would enjoy. So,
Yes. Yeah.
um, getting into the tackles, do we want to start with your guy? You were teasing.
Yeah. Teasing. So I there's a guy that I like more than consensus. Um I would be okay with taking this dude like early round three, and I think the consensus has him at like 132 on the consensus big board. I'll get into like two other guys as well after this, but it's Austin Barber. Did you watch Austin Barber?
I did. I did watch
I
Austin Barber.
loved, I loved Austin Barber. I really, like. I came away watching like him, and kind of in awe in terms of like I don't know why more people don't like him. Um, I just think he's just a very. I do know why people don't like him. He's kind of small and he can be susceptible to power moves. He doesn't quite understand his leverage quite yet. But just in terms of a guy that you're going to get that is athletically sound and athletically gifted, there's not many guys in terms of the lateral ability in this class that are as gifted as Austin Barber is. He has a great first step. And again, his lateral agility is absolutely fantastic. I mean, you had talked about it with Vega, given this is a different position, but you would argue it's more important at tackle, where you have these speed rushers that are coming across your face and he can't find it. This guy mirrors very, very well. I mean, I think at the top of his class and his ability to move again laterally and mirror against these different speed rushers. Um, and again, kind of the same way that I talked about with Bragnon, this guy has vice grips, especially in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
If again his hands get on you, the rep is most likely going to be lost unless you're playing up against like a very high end person that's going to know how to counter that and reposition himself. Um, and it was just a matter of like, I love how well you can move and I love how strong your hands are. And he combo box very well. Again, that shouldn't be shocked when you hear the athletic tools that he has. Um, with all of that, again, he has those holes where he doesn't understand his leverage, which allows him to get bull rushed and people can get underneath him. And then he doesn't move people. He knows how to get his butt in the hole to allow the running back to get through. So he's effective in the run game, but he's not a plus in the run game. And the other thing that had me like screaming while watching his tape is he puts his head down way too much, both in the pass and in the run. He's ducking
Yeah.
his head, and it makes me want to like punch my screen at times because it again it makes him susceptible to things like stunts and whatnot. When you have the ability to counter them at the high level that you do with your athletic traits, sometimes you don't because you're looking down and you're looking at the feet of the guy that's across from you. But again, I was floored with him when I watched him just because of the athletic tools that he can offer. I thought he was a lot of fun. But you said you did watch him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you don't have a write up, but do you remember anything about him?
The biggest thing with like the pass protection, like just widening out. I feel like with how big he is, I feel like guys are just gonna get around him. Um, it compares to didn't the Jets have one of these guys? It was like out of Louisiana, who like he had the size, he had the run blocking and things like that, but in pass pro, guys could just get around him. I think it was like Max Mitchell. Is that his name? Something like that. But
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
he's like Barber is huge and it shows off in the run game, but I
massive.
have
He's 6'7".
yeah, I have my issues with the pass game and he was someone on my list to watch just because he's in Brugler's top 100. So again, like if that is
Mm.
that's a stamp to me to go and watch him. So uh, yeah, interesting to see where he goes just because I think you're right with the traits and the power. I think that's just going to intrigue NFL teams. I wonder if he's, in that third round comp pick area, that those 10 picks to end round three. I think that would be an interesting spot for him.
Be fun. Before we get into the rest as well, because again, the seven that we have, I'd imagine the same seven, obviously put in a different order. Um, I'd be remiss to not talk about like there are always a couple other guys like down the board that'll be selected. You, maybe back end of round 3 or round 4, just based off of like physical upside. In this class, it's Isaiah World and Markel Bell. Um, it was a fun conversation that we had with Markel Bell earlier on. Like this dude is like a mountain of an individual. He is massive. He is like I think he's 6'9" and he has like 95th percentile arm length. Um, so just in terms of like size that you're getting along with your defensive tackle or with your offensive tackle, there's going to be someone that's going to drool over him. It's going to be like, yeah, like let me get my hands on this guy. But with all of like the awesome size stuff and the stuff that can come with that, um, you have like all of the negatives. At 6'9", you are just naturally going to lose the leverage battle on every single rep. Even if you understand how it works and you're mindful and you're aware of it, there's not much you can do to win the leverage battle at 6'9", obviously. And because he's so big, he's just very like lumbering. Um, it's bad foot speed. And then for like a guy as big as he is, I wish you moved people better than what you did.
Yeah.
Like you didn't impress me with how you moved people. And he more so just kind of like leaned on people. And he's like, okay, I'm bigger than you. I'm just gonna lean on you rather than like actually moving people and creating drive. And then the other one was again Isaiah World. Big thing for him is just going to be like tools. You're going to look at this guy and you're going to say he has all those tools. He has upper body strength. He has the long arms. He has the athletic traits. He can move. But he's going to naturally lose that recovery battle. He has bad hand placement that really makes him grabby at a lot of things. Um, but then the big thing is you also suffered a torn ACL this season against IU the first
Later.
time around. Or later, was it the second time around?
Yeah.
So you also suffered an ACL even later in the season, which is going to contribute to how high teams are going to be willing to take you. And what does your recovery process look like? Um, but again, he's just like another toolsy guy. These ones are always so tough because you can look at them and you can look at what the tape offers and you can say, yeah, like I have maybe a 4th or 5th round grade on this guy, but it takes one team to drool over the traits that either of these guys have and say, no, we're going to take him or early 4th round. We're going to take him back into the 3rd because we think we're better than everyone else and we think we can develop him. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So these ones are always tough to project, like where they end up. Those were two guys that I think we'd be remiss to not like briefly kind of spout out. But anyways, I kind of monopolized that. You're OT7.
Well, did you watch Tiernan, the
No,
Northwestern guy?
no.
He's a weird player. He's really
Okay.
weird. Yeah, like proportionally, like he's huge.
Uh
He's
oh.
he's like he's as big as Markel Bell. I think as
No
tall as
kidding.
him. But his arm length is like right at the cut line, like 32 and a half. It's insane. So I don't
Ooh.
know. So I was watching him and like he's decent at all the stuff you would want to be decent at. Like of course like the anchor is really good. I think his strike timing and his punches are really good, but it's like I don't know what to do with you. Because just proportionally you are insane to look at. If you're 6'8" and you have 32 and a half, like you're not even reaching that arm length. Like
Yeah.
they are going to beat you around the edge every time. And so
Yeah.
I'm interested in him cuz he's ranked in like the top 75 and all the guys, but I kind of separated him from the rest of this list just because I think all these guys could go first round where I don't think that with him, but I think
Mm.
he deserves the shout out, but he's a hilarious player. I'm interested in him. And what a team does with him because there's something to work with there. But starting
Yeah.
with my OT7, I had Blake Miller out of Clemson. Um, just a very
Yes.
sound tackle prospect. I think the checks all the boxes that you would want him to check: length, athleticism, power. He can reset his anchor against power in pass pro. Sinks those hips and he gets a hold of you. When Clemson asked him to actually be on an island when they weren't RPOing, he'll launch into contact with great energy to move people. And then the cons, the footwork and the body control were the most notable to me. Off of his, off his feet, plays off his feet too much for me. Overextension. Players got around his face far too often on an island, so kind of just dip inside there. And then the top half will do different things from the lower half. That kind of coincides with the footwork. But Blake Miller, I think a lot of fans. I think a lot of what he does well intrigues a lot of people. And when you check all the boxes for the length, the athleticism, and the power, but I think he's got a long ways to go before he can play in the NFL. So that's why he's at OT7 for me, where I think a lot of the other guys I feel pretty good about throwing him day one. So
Mm,
I think in the NFL probably needs a red shirt similar to like a guy like Tyler Guyton, where I'm not throwing him out
yes.
there right away. Even maybe a team has to, maybe a team does if they really like his traits and ability. But I would be hesitant on him starting day one, so that's why he's all the way down here for me.
Yeah, I rejoice because he was 7 for me as well. Um, he was I hate to say this about like a soon to be professional like athlete. But I mean, I think the best way to like sum up those cons or weakness, however you want to define it as, is just like he's uncoordinated at times. Like it just seems like as you said, they're not in conjunction with each other. Um, Especially again the upper and lower body. But also like his punches, he's inconsistent with hand placement. He's inconsistent with the power that he's going to put behind him. Um, and then the other thing for him too is he leans a lot in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
He really likes to overextend himself there. But in terms of strengths, like I'm right there with you. Everything that you said, I will second with that. I think he's a really smart player too. I think he does a really really good job of rating those stunts. I think that's a benefit of him playing as long as he has there in that Clemson system. He's like has all the IQ that you would want from someone coming out in the draft, along with everything that you said. So I have him right there at OT7 as well. Um, this one hurt. So my 6 and 5, I went like back and forth on, and I hate like having one in front of the other because they're one might not even be an offensive tackle at the next level. um, so I'll start with technically he's my 6. Again, I've gone back and forth. Um, Max Onacher, he's an athlete, man. Like he has a soccer background. This dude has played. I think he played soccer like all the way up through high school. I don't think he played football until like his junior or senior year of high school. And like that shows he has quick feet. He has very fluid hips. It is fun. It's great, and I think he's kind of perfectly made for the zone scheme because of how well he can move. Uh, Emphasis on flashes here. He flashes power. He has power. He can show it. He's inconsistent with it, but it's one of those things that you see it on tape and you're like, okay, so you do have it. And that's why I'm going to put it in a strength for you for the time being. We'll see if you can do it more consistently, but you have it. So you're an athlete who has power and you're very, very patient in pass protection. And at times he's a tone setter. He has a mean streak to him too, which you absolutely love about him. In terms of kind of the places I'd like to see you grow a little bit, I think he just needs to develop in the game of football and your knowledge behind it. There just seems like a lot of times where I'm like, you kind of just got there, especially on your stunts. Like You just need more time playing football because you just haven't played it enough yet. His late punches too. There are way too many times where he was letting the defender get hands on him first, which you don't like to see. And then he has the developing anchor, is the best way I put it. Again, it kind of goes back to the developing power aspect of it, where like you can sometimes show it, and he can sometimes show an anchor, but there's also sometimes where you're just getting walked back by a bull rush. And again, it's one of the more frustrating things because I've seen you do it at times, and then there are other times that you don't. I think he's again. I think the best way to just like summarize him is he's an athlete that has like very tantalizing traits, but he just needs to develop and just play more football. And that's why he's at 6 for me. Again, it broke my heart to put him at 6. I really wanted to put him higher, um, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have him at 6 as well. And again, as I said at the top of this, like these rankings, these guys are really close, and I imagine
Yeah.
for you as well. Like
Yeah.
Iheanachor's still a top 30 player for me. So
Yes.
again, everything that you talked about with that, like the size, the athletic ability, with the foot speed, I think that is just like what brings you in, and what gets you into the door, and you kind of have to live with everything else. And this is going to take some time. Like he comes from a JUCO background as well, so again, like this is just a tumultuous journey to get to Arizona State and dominate David Bailey the way he did. And I think that's why there's a
Yeah.
ton of fans behind him. What he was able to do against Texas Tech, I think, is, and even the Senior Bowl when he's surrounded by peers. Like, I think
Oh.
what has just shown in that time frame, I'm impressed by. Um, I'm my biggest con with him and why he's going to be at 6 is just against powerful and heavy-handed players who are going to match his athleticism. I'm terrified of. Like I'm
Mhm.
really scared about that. He's just like the anchor is flashed in college, so I'm really worried about like when you're facing similar athletes on an
Yeah.
island, like again, but compared to Blake Miller, how I talked about Blake Miller shouldn't start right away. Iheanacho probably falls in that same boat a little bit, but just being
Mhm.
able to live on an island and have that, when he gets out of his set, he explodes out of it and gets to those landmarks really well. It's just figuring everything out. The footwork and one-on-one blocking, he'll just lose on like he'll lose power unintentionally, just the way that he's moving and the way that his feet just slide back. Um,
Yeah.
and then, like you said, when he is forced to think about who he's blocking against stunts and games, that awareness is just not good, and that's going to come
Yeah.
with it. Like I think that's the good part of like the raw prospect, where it's like these are things that can get better. These are the things that you can teach. These are the things that, if we can connect, are going to all come together. So yeah, I had Iheanacho at 6. You teased 5 a little bit. Who'd you have at 5?
Caleb Lomu.
Okay, I had him at 4.
Yeah, I had those guys. I had the Utah guys like paired up for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And then like yesterday I'm like I'm going to go back through and like share everything up, and I had watched the fourth guy and I'm just like okay. Hey, I like what you could bring in the run game. Which probably gave it away a little bit. Yeah, Caleb Lomu for me is 6. There were times too, like watching him, and we'll get to Fano later. Um, there were times where I watched this and I'm like, I could be convinced that you were the better tackle on Utah. I think the Utah coaches sure thought he was because they moved him over to left tackle, which is saying something. But um, the big thing for him is he's just doesn't have like a whole lot of play strength, and that's why like people question whether or not you're going to be able to play tackle. But I still even have concerns with play strength at guard and interior, because at interior you're going to be going up against even heavier guys. I digress. That's a big concern for him. But for him, this guy is he for the most part has everything that you would like want. He gets the first punch off. He's explosive. He has that football IQ that a guy like Max doesn't, and that's why he ended up getting ranked in front of Max, is because of that football IQ and that processor that he has. Um, and his athletic ability, Caleb Lomu's athletic ability, allows him to recover very, very well, and he has great body control when doing it. Like he can reset his feet, which, like again, the play strength is a big concern, and your ability to drop this anchor is a big concern for me. But there were a lot of times on tape against college people where I was able to see you reset your feet, reposition your body, and kind of like play like and get your feet back underneath you and kind of damage control yourself out of this situation and recover from it well. Which again, it's a very weird thing saying that like your play strength is bad, but you've learned how to kind of deal with that. Like I think he recognizes that he has bad play strength, and he has been able to kind of fight off against that with how well he can recover. Again, good processor. He's explosive. He has powerful hands. He doesn't wait for the guys to come to him. He's really good at getting your first punch. But again, I don't know if you're going to play tackle at this next level. Only time will tell. I mean, he was taking snaps at center, right? So I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree on the tackle to move to guard. I think he's a tackle through and through, just because
Mm.
I think the con like his point of attack power is not good. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want to increase that. I don't want to give him now
Exactly.
less time moving
Yeah.
inside. So I think that's my biggest thing. And a lot of his cons to me were just inconsistent play that
Mm.
I think can just get better. Like the landmark management, just oversetting in the pass pro, giving up that inside face, and he just gets out of control in the run game where it's like stay sound, kind of cut off that outside man where it's like I'm gonna take this reckless angle to go get him, and he doesn't
Yeah.
really mirror the player across from him often enough. So I really liked Lomu, um, just kind of figuring it out along the way.
Yeah.
Like I just a lot of his things come with inconsistent play, and if you can get him in the right scheme and system, you can kind of figure that out. Um, but like the biggest thing to me is, I'll bring up Texas Tech again. Like he got better as that game went along. I
Yes.
can't say the same for Fano. I think he got better and better as the height, and again, he's going against Romello Height, and Fano's going up against David Bailey, so it is different along that level, but just overall, I felt really good about Lomu. You mentioned his like foot speed and the movement ability and zone run scheme. Like Fano's better at that, but they're both really
Mm-hmm.
good at it. So I'm interested in that, and I mentioned Fano, so I'll lead into Fano. I have him at 5. I'm probably the
Mm.
lowest you're gonna see on Spencer Fano.
Yeah.
I've been the lowest for a while now, and he can't play tackle. He can't. I don't see any world where this guy plays tackle. Um, the athletic tools combined with the range and the pass pro is great. He flashes short area quickness and balance out of his stance, like really good stuff. And when he is across from his assignment, his hands are strong and they fit to get around in the run game. Like he's annoying to deal with in the run game. And then like you get into the cons, it's similar to how I brought up Tiernan, but not like as tall. Like it's just a
Short arm.
weird, lean, small length, like whatever you want to bring. I think he's maxed out. Like all of his stuff in terms of cons coincides with power. I don't like from the lower half down, from the hips down. This is like a top 10, player. Like
Yeah.
and I get where people are like mocking him to the Chiefs and things like that. But upper half, I just don't know if you're powerful enough, and I don't have much, you know, conviction that you're going to get more powerful at this level, especially with this weird build that he has. And if he gets too big, am I going to lose that short area quickness right out of the stance? And so, again, maybe I'm contradicting myself with Lomu, where it's like, oh, Lomu's not powerful, but you're going to move Fano inside. Like, yes, just because I think the pulling ability
Yeah.
at guard I think it just coincides with that stuff. But I'm with Fano. I could not get there. I had him at 5. I really tried hard. He was the guy I watched the most out of these guys, and I
Gotcha.
just kept coming back to like I'm trying to find something to where it's like. And then the other thing, let's compare these guys together with Utah. It was a gimmick offense in 25. You have to make Dampier work, who like Dampier's a great college quarterback, not great for us projecting to the next level for these guys specifically. So there was not a lot of like pure pass sets that I could go off of. So that's why I think the most with him, like he was the most watch. But yeah, just overwhelm, just gets overwhelmed by power, and
Yes.
he's not a powerful player. And so those two
No.
things combined really, really gave me pause.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely understand that. I mean that's why I said at times like I'm like, is Lomu the better tackle in this system, right? I had Fano at 3. Because all of the amazing stuff that you said with his lower half that he does.
Yes.
But again, I I have all those same concerns. Again, you're you have a weird frame, you play with high pads, you have short arms, and you still have play strength questions. Um, so I understand the concerns, but I there's so much to love on like that lower half of his body that you kind of touched on, and from hips down, that I really I really fell in love with. But I mean, both these Utah guys are just, I don't know. It's weird. I can understand the hesitation on it. But yeah, I had him at 3 because of all of the lower half stuff that you talked about. Him just being that fluid mover, him being able to mirror very well, and that's part of the reason why I think he can play tackle. I think he can mirror very well. Um, and he can control that edge with how well he can mirror. So that's why I don't quite have the same concerns, but I understand the concerns. But he's at 3. Um, I think we're gonna have the same exact rest of the list, other than our Utah guys being flipped, unless you
Has there
surprise me.
has there been a player like just going back to Fano? Has there been a
Yeah.
player with like his profile that's like that's like a top 20 guy? Because I'm just like thinking back to the draft. I'm going through some drafts right now and just going through like, has there been a guy like a tackle drafted top 20 where it's like just questioning like, can you even like play at this level with the power? And I going through, I can't. I don't know. He's a unique player. He's a unique player.
There's
Maybe I'm on the path of like rather be too low than get too high. And
yeah. No, I understand that. So, um,
all right.
for some
So
reason there's a
so
player that.
what were your rankings so far?
Okay. Well, I had a guy in between my
Do you have a guy at 5?
Utah. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a
Who is
guy at
it?
4. I have a guy at 4.
Guy at 4. Okay.
Yes. So really
I'm up to
quickly.
my top 3, so that's why I asked.
Oh, okay. So okay, that makes a lot of sense. Well, my 4's. I would be shocked if my 4 isn't your 3. Um, really quickly, my 7 was Blake Miller. My 6 was Max. My 5 was Lomu. My 4 is Proctor, and my 3 is Fano. Is Proctor your 3?
He is my 2.
He's your 2. He's your
Yes.
2.
Yes,
Okay.
he is.
Oh, that's see now I feel gross because now that means I'm the high man on Monroe Freeling on this podcast, and I don't know how I feel about that. There's
One was always going to be
long.
the truth, brother.
um, yeah. Well, so you are higher on Proctor than I am. Again, I have Proctor at 4. You have him at 2. Um, I will give you the floor because there's a lot of amazing things that you can say about this guy with his violence and people moving ability. So I will give you the floor for Proctor.
All right. He is an overwhelming mountain of a man with just incredible force, dude. Like
Yes.
when it's good, it's so freaking good. Just his foot speed as well at 350. It's just rare when he is on an island. There were like, why do you think Ty Simpson was playing so well in the middle part of the season? That's when Kadyn Proctor was playing his best football. He covers so much ground out of his set off the snap. And when he has the intention to finish you, there's no stopping him in space. There are times where he doesn't want to
There's
hit
nothing you
people.
can do.
There's like there, and that's the part. The good is very
Yes.
good. That's my number one con. The good is very good. The bad is very bad. So I won't stand on a table for Spencer Fano. I'll be wrong about Proctor. I'll continue to be wrong about these players. Like it just happens. Um, he falls on his ass too much. The balance, the leverage, the create
Yeah.
easy lanes off the edge too often. Again, that comes with it. He lunges out over his feet trying to get up to defenders and just plays very high. High padded player. It's kind of what's going to happen. But the biggest thing, with all of those, can you just continue to get smaller? Can you continue to manage that weight, kid? That's all I'm like. That's what it is. He needs to get to a system that is going to prioritize him playing at that 340 to 343. He was 352 at the combine. There were times where people talked about he was 380 in college, I think was the thing. Like early in the season, he was playing at like a massive mass. And that was why what was it? The Georgia game, he gets a touch because they were talking about that. It was like you earn the ball when you lose weight. Like that's how bad it got for him. So I think that's going to be the biggest con of them all. If he eats himself out of the league, like I'm not gonna be surprised. It happens, and yeah, it's similar to doing the Becton, the Mekhi Becton thing.
That's what I was gonna say.
Everything is so intriguing. But even with Becton, when it's right, like he finds a place at guard. But it's weird. Again, he's surrounded by great coaching, and he's next to Lane Johnson, and it all goes smoothly, and he has a bad time with the Chargers. Even next to Joe Alt, who's great. So Proctor, I'm standing on the table. I've stood on the table. I've said it just makes more sense than Freeling to me. I'll say that. Even if I rank him pretty close, I would rather swing and miss on Proctor than Freeling's last three-ish games. He was great in that Texas game, but just I think that's where I'm at with it. And then the final stamp of Proctor was bad against R. Mason Thomas. R. Mason Thomas came back from injury and was just like, I'm gonna get around you a lot. And so I'm standing on the table for this guy. I get why you have him at 4. I get why people would have him as low as 6. But this is one of the players I'm standing on the table for.
I mean, I had seen people saying take him back into the second round. That's at that point I'm like, whoa, what are we doing? We might have lost the plot on this one. We're doing too much of the back end, too much of the Evan Neal stuff there when we're saying take him at the back end of round 1. No, I mean, as you said,
Evan Neal was so stiff. You brought him up, so I just want to defend. Evan Neal was he was so heavy-footed.
I agree.
There was no chance. We were all wrong about that. I don't thinking back to that one. What was it? Charles Cross was in that draft.
Yes.
You go ahead to Charles Cross. Think it back, and you go.
Yes. No, I agree. Again, I think when people start saying Evan Neal, we're losing the plot a little bit on the player. Again, he does all of those amazing things very, very well. He's a very violent player. And again, he can move people with his power. He wants to finish you, and he's going to do it. He's strong. His punches are going to hurt if he can land them. But it's everything with the size really concerns you, and it really is I don't know. Again, for me, it more than anything, it was a conditioning thing, as you pointed out. He's carrying a lot of that weight, and as the game gets deeper in, and as you get into the third quarter, as you get into the fourth quarter, you can see he's just winded. And I think that's a lot of where when you had mentioned that When he wants to, he will, but there are times that he doesn't want to. And a lot of that like lack of wanting to happens at these end of the games when he is just winded and he's just like the conditioning is gone. And he's just like, I just need to get through this. The clock just needs to run out so I can go and lay down and catch my breath. And like the conditioning thing is like a very real concern for me because you saw it like actively impact him like live while watching tape. He's a different player as he was in the first quarter than what he is in the fourth quarter. Um, Again, the lateral quickness. He's not going to be his own blocker, and the speed rushes. You kind of touched on there with our Mason Thomas stuff. He's going to get got with the speed rushes just because he doesn't have these like elite movement, very heavy feet. And then again, balance, as you said, he can get thrown off balance pretty easy.
That's my biggest thing. Yeah. If
There
this
you
doesn't
go.
work, it's because like there he is on his ass again, and maybe that's where the Evan Neal thing comes from, because they both share that quality. But yeah,
Yeah. So, um, again, I absolutely understand, but like when all of the when it pops, it pops. But there are a lot of times where the bad stuff is popping too. Um, I think a big thing is just like culture, like getting him into a program that has a good culture that's gonna motivate him to kind of make sure he stays on top of. And I hate I hate talking about a player like this, but like making sure he stays on top of weight management, making sure he
yeah,
can.
it's not fun to talk like this, but it's like the most important part of this player. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it is.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
why it's gonna be harped on. It's gonna be harped on by us, by everybody. Like it's
yeah.
even as someone who like he's gonna be a top 15 player for me. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it'll be fun to see where he gets drafted. I'll be interested. I got to a point with him where I'm like, if he's there at 23, like
Yeah.
take him. I'd be okay. Take him. If he gets to 23, I have no issue with that.
The two
So
the two in that core part of the draft, like the Ravens now getting their pick back at 14, and the Lions at 17, I think are the spots that I'd be
yeah,
shocked if one of those two teams isn't like, hey, look at how freakish he is. Let's just go do it. And
let's
even
just
like
take him.
even with like the Lions, like you could kick Sewell back over to like left and take Proctor and kick him over to right. That's
Which
something
I
you could
think you
do.
should, which is something I want to talk to you about at the end of the show as
Uh,
well, which will be interesting. Um, my two, which it was, Matt, it was always going to end up with me being the high man on Monroe Freeling, wasn't it?
yep.
With everything that I had talked about him and me being very anti like taking him in the top 10. Um, it was always going to end up. He is of all the guys was the guy that I ended up watching the most tape of, because I just kept going back and having to rewatch. Okay, what are people seeing that I am missing? What are people seeing that I am missing? And then you get to it and you're like, okay, maybe it's just a rare combination of how he can move and how big he is. He's 6'7", has 34-inch arms, and he can move. And at certain times, it is important to not overthink that. Like it is really, really important to not overthink a 6'7" guy that can move very well, and that is Monroe Freeling, right? Um, has a great combination. He has active hands, which you really love to come and appreciate. As you said, his early season stuff is a lot better than his later season stuff. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if there's like an undisclosed injury or
Oh,
something, but he just
you think he was better at the start?
yeah.
I thought from the Texas game on he was pretty good. Like
Maybe
at
I
the
flipped it.
end
Maybe,
there.
maybe it was a back 3 games. Um, but it was just I anyways, I flipped it here, guys. I apologize. I tired here. But again, I think it's important to just not overcomplicate the player that you're getting with him. Again, at the end of the day, you're just getting a very rare combination of size and speed with a guy, or movement ability. I don't want to necessarily say speed, but just lateral agility, his ability to it's kind of become the word of the day for me. I don't know how we ended up here, but kind of combo block up to the next level. And of all the guys that I've talked about, where I'm like, I don't want you in a zone blocking scheme at all. This is his best fit. I would love to see you in a zone blocking scheme. Like, that is your perfect fit. You would be great in a zone blocking scheme. Um, in terms of the things that he doesn't do very well, you can say that the 6'7", 34-inch arms is great, which it absolutely is. And you can say his movement is great, which it is. But he does need to add weight. Like at 6'7", you are much smaller in the mass department than what I would want you to do. And at 6'7", you're already going to naturally lose that leverage battle. And then you add the fact light. Yeah, but you can't like you need to put on weight because you're already going to naturally lose this leverage battle at 6'7", which is already going to be an issue, especially in the run game. And at points, you can kind of say, well, I know I'm going to be a little bit bigger. I know I'm 6'7", or I know I'm 6'8", but it's all right because I can kind of overcompensate that sometime with that healthy 340. But you're not. You're like 314 or something, and you were smaller than what I expected. So you need to add weight because you're already going to naturally lose that leverage battle. And then in the run game, he lunges and overextends himself like at like an extreme rate. Like there were way too many times where he was doing that. But again, don't overthink it. He's a guy that can move despite his testing numbers. He can move. Again, it won't show it. You dropped weight to be fine, to be able to test better the combine. It didn't translate. I don't care. I'm gonna go off what the tape tells me. Um, Again, drop this guy into a nice zone scheme, and you are going to be perfectly happy with your choice there. Uh, Dream fits, like, can you go to the Niners? That'd be fun. I'd love to see him in that scheme.
That okay, that seems insane, even for me.
But
Um, yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on everything. I think the biggest thing, like on an island, pass protection just got better, better, and then dominant towards the end of the season. Um, that was something that I really like to see. But the cons for me, the biggest thing for me is it's kind of like an inconsistent thing, but it's like he just
Mhm.
overthinks a lot of the position right now. Like the feel and the presence in the run game is still getting there, and like just landmarks in the pass game kind of will keep drifting out, out, trying to corral. Um, and that helped some of his like island pass protection stuff just because so many guys are so much smaller and not as athletic as him when he gets to the next level. That's where I have my
Sure.
concerns. But did you mention he plays high too? He's another high padded player.
Yes.
Um, just
Yeah.
just most notable like on down blocks, he'll just get over his skis and he'll just play very high. Um, but like his movement, I saw a lot of it because of what their scheme kind of possessed. But like his movement on screenplays, I'm interested to see how a team kind of uses that to their advantage because he gets out of there on
Yeah.
on screenplays. And again, that's part of like their core just because of Zach Branch. But interested to see how that goes. But I had him at third. You had him at two. I think we've hit on everything outside of one, Francis Mauigoa out of Miami. So
Yeah. Isn't it fun too that like him and Vega are like they're the same like archetype of player. One just plays tackle and one plays interior. Like they're the same guy. Didn't mean to cut you off. The floor is yours. I just thought it was fun that like they're just like these both like very powerful people moving people. Uh, I digress.
no, that's a great point. And like Maui Noah is just so clean as a prospect. 3-year starter. is still a junior out of Miami, has all like the pedigree of being a 5 star and things like that, and he's just a powerful mover. I think the anchor he had the best anchor in the class. Would you agree with that? Um,
Absolutely.
just a
Don't
very
bore us.
very solid body positioning and control when he's in the recover stage of a rep, especially in like the pass game, and his hand usage and placement in pass pro really just could end rushes. So that was stuff I really really liked. And then the cons, like you said, I mean it's foot speed on an island in pass pro. Like that's the biggest thing, right? Like
Yeah.
that's why he's not nobody's going to be moving him over to left tackle. You know, um, he lunges out away from his frame at times on inside zone runs, just trying to get to the landmark where it's like keep following your feet. Your feet will take you there. And then rushers beat him with a spin move. Did you notice? I think there was like a few times where just he gets out there, and he's so far out that just spin inside
Yeah.
would get him. So that was something I wanted to mention. I didn't have a lot of cons, so I threw that in there. Just get better against the spin move, but very clean player. It's why like number 3 to the Cardinals, even if I'm gonna have him like right now, let me see where I have him ranked on a big board. 12th. I have him 12th. Um, I would still take him at 3, and I don't think
Yeah.
that's too far. You know, jumping up. Like I think there is him paired up with Paris Johnson Jr. I think would be great. But uh, what did you see with Maui Noah? I probably similar.
No, it's the literally the exact same thing for you. Again, the big weaknesses for him is speed counters and foot speed. Speed counters and foot speed. Yes, okay, I did say that correctly. That's the biggest weakness for him. But again, it's just he's just a very powerful player at just all aspects of the game and pass pro in terms of just like halting hand usage is kind of the best way that I'm going to do. Like he punches you and your rep is dead. Good luck.
Yep.
Let's try it again next snap. And again, he has great upper body strength and lower body leg drive that allows him to really be super effective in the run game. So all these amazing things that you said. The big thing with him is like I think he can play pretty much any position along the offensive line.
Yeah.
Like I could see a team just taking him and being like, okay, like you shouldn't have made it here. We have 2 very good tackles. We're just gonna scoot you into guard. Like you're that good of a player, you're that good of an offensive line. Like I would be a-okay with him playing either guard position as well. And I think he would be
Dude, this is like
phenomenal
me
at
in
it.
January when someone mocked him to the Saints. Like I did the same thing as you, where it's like, ah, yeah, he can play guard. Like there's not much of a con there.
Yeah, yeah. So like it's just again like the little short write up. I have like little short write ups with every guy. Like it's 3 words. It's great offensive lineman. And again, I made sure to be very like specific with the offensive lineman wording of that and not just offensive tackle because he'll be fine wherever he gets taken for whatever position he gets taken for. Um I just think like you know what you're getting with him. Like I would be more so than like many other players in this class. I would be very shocked if this guy is just like a flat out bust and like an absolute nothing. Like I could see maybe him not being the best tackle in the world because of the foot speed concerns. But then again, just bumping in to play guard and you're fine and you have a really good guard. He's again one of the most clean prospects in this entire class. Like I don't really have a lot of concerns about him translating to NFL football. I think he's gonna be great. So
Yeah, I we see him very very similar. Um,
yeah,
so
I
you're
had.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll run back through. Yeah, Austin Barber at 8, Blake Miller at 7, Max Iheanachor at 6, Caleb Lomu at 5, Kadyn Proctor at 4, Spencer Fano at 3, Monroe Freeling at 2, and then Mauigoa at 1.
I had Blake Miller 7, Iheanachor 6, Fano 5, Lomu 4, Freeling 3, Proctor 2, Mauigoa at 1.
There you go. So, question here: when scouting offensive tackles, because there are different people. People have different thoughts and opinions on this. Um, how much like stock do you put into someone playing like right or left tackle? And I don't know if it's like a positional bias situation, but I see a lot of people like not having concern of like, oh, he's a left tackle, but we already have a left tackle, so we'll just throw him a right tackle. And I don't see a lot of people like concerned about that. I do see a lot of people are like, he played right tackle in college. He can only play right tackle at the NFL. Like I'm not gonna trust you to play left tackle, which is funny because I think you said that about Maui Noah, which kind of works out like perfectly. But like, how much stock do you put into an offensive tackle and the side he was playing for his ability to translate to either side at the next level?
I think the only position that I like hold back on is left tackle. Like I think you need to be one like top end athlete to play left tackle. Like Alt, for example. He was a right and he plays right. He could play left tomorrow. And he
Yeah,
ended up doing that when
and he
Slater got
did.
hurt. Like I need the athletic ability to be like Freeling can play left tackle. Proctor can play left tackle. Maui Noah, the foot speed stuff and the athletic tools in the lower half. I have my concerns, and that's why it's just let's just stay at right tackle. I think that's the only position. Left tackle is the one where it's like I have a requirement of like you need to be at that athletic threshold, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. And then like kicking a guy inside, it all depends with kicking a guy inside
yeah,
because
yeah,
Like Banks had pretty decent length, had pretty decent athleticism. I wanted to kick him inside because I thought his strengths coincided with that. You know, just the
yeah,
point of attack power and the way he moved people at Texas. Like I thought that would benefit him the most playing at guard, and he's been a fine left tackle in his rookie year. So, Membu, a year ago, he could have played left. You know,
yeah,
so it all is kind of comes down to I don't want to be like it's well the res score will tell me all, but it's like I need those athletic tools to kind of come together with your strengths to feel, strongly about moving you to left. That makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, that's how I view it. For me, the starting point for a player is always going to be like, are we a left tackle? And if you're a left tackle, we can then work our way down the list. If you're a left tackle, okay, then you can play
Yeah.
right tackle. And if you can play right tackle, then maybe you can play interior. But while you can work your way down the list from left tackle to right tackle to interior, it's going to be a lot harder to work your way up the list. A right tackle, left tackle, or interior to tackle, so on and so forth. So it's a lot easier to like when you're kind of putting it out again from left tackle to right tackle to interior. Um, it's a lot easier to move down the list than it is to shoot back up the list. Is how I've kind of always viewed things.
Hmm.
So
So I have a question to rebuttal your
yeah,
question. That franchise guy, great
okay.
YouTuber, he was on Twitter this week talking about like the positional value of guard and why have we not
Oh my
caught up
god.
to positional value of guard? You know, like and he mentioned safety, he mentioned linebacker, running back, and I agree with all three of those positions. Guard is more valuable than those three. Like at what point
Yes.
does and again it's all contract value and things like that and it all depends on the draft. And everything is but with a guy like Vega Wane, very clean player, very
Mm-hmm.
just what you see is what you get, and I think a lot of people are going to end up having him in that top 20-ish range.
Mm-hmm.
It's just where do you side on the guard to tackle positional value thing? Like I get yes, tackle is still going to be one of the premium
Yes.
positions, but is guard like right there? Is guard like on that last is it next to corner? Is it corner's a good one? Is corner and guard kind of equal in positional value circuits to you?
To me, there's not, simply because of the contract value of it, right?
Okay.
and,
Yeah.
and I think that's what you nailed on. That being said, I think like guard is that like at the top of that next drop down in terms of
Hmm.
like tiers. The guard is going to be at the top of that. Obviously, again, all of that is context dependent because in most drafts, like I like around 10, like once we start breaking into double digits is when I would start feeling comfortable. Again, draft dependent, obviously, like where I would start feeling like comfortable taking like a good solid guard, unless they are like a generational guard. Like draft be damned. Quentin Nelson is
Quentin
a top
Nelson.
five
That's the
pick.
one. That's the one.
Yeah. So like like so unless you're like a generational guard, I'm probably not taking you in the top 10. But that
Hmm.
top 10 mark on is when I'm going to start like if you're a good player, you're a good player. At that point that positional value starts like diminishing there a little bit. I would still like if I still had a corner need and an offensive guard need, and I had two players of the same value, I'm going to opt to that positional need a little bit more with your corner, for example, because that's the one that you had laid out. Um, but I think like guard is like the top of that very next kind of drop down tier because I think it's like quarterback and like high end left tackle. And then you have like that next drop down where it's like wide receiver, right tackle, and like cornerback,
Hmm.
and then you have
Edge rusher's got
everyone
to be in there.
or edge is in tier one. I forget.
Yeah.
My bad. It's quarterback, left tackle, and edge in that tier one position. That tier two position for me is going to be your right tackle, wide receiver, and corner. And then that tier three is going to be everyone else. Guard is probably the top of that tier three.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. I was thinking about it this week, just because, um, like I said, with Fega Iwane, I am high on this player, and I think he's a
Yeah.
very clean player. And at some point, it's like, I get why like at 6 with the Browns, even if they're trying to trade down, like why they're going to opt to a Proctor or a Freeling because they want to fill out a left tackle. But it's like, you know, Kansas City, Kansas City at 9. I think Vega Wane.
I can see that. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
let's kick Suamatia back to right tackle. Like, you can see that.
Yeah.
But that is all for the offensive line rankings. Thank you so much for clicking through. Um, Ben, do you have any closing thoughts for the people?
No. This is like a good. Again, as I think you said at the top of the show, there's not like that like the guy in this class, especially in terms of like offensive tackle rankings. Um, but like it's just a very like solid
Yeah.
class, especially like pick like 15 through probably like the back end of round two. There's just going to be some really solid offensive lines, just like in general, getting taken in this class, even if there's not like that the guy. It's going to be a good class. I'm excited for it. There were a lot of fun guys, as you said. All these guys were very closely like ranked from Iheanachor on. It was fun. Going to the defensive side next week. That's where it gets really fun because I know Matt has differing opinions about this edge class compared to consensus.
Yeah, I've come back around on that a little bit. There's a lot of good
Okay.
edge role players. I don't I am very hesitant on any of them being like star ace pass rushers. I think
Sure.
maybe that's where it comes from. I've come around a little bit on some players. I'm still lower on players, but yes.
Yes. So moving over to the defensive side of the football next week, it'll be fun. Defensive side, and then we'll be all nice and prepped. The draft is at this point like a month away. The draft
It's less
is
than a month.
yeah. Oh,
You
it's
better
less than a
start
month.
you
Okay,
better
well,
start counting us down.
I was gonna say you better get ready, buddy. You're getting a countdown starting tomorrow morning. Uh, but yeah, it was fun. Excited to get into the defensive side of the football. And hey, if enjoy March Madness. Hopefully your bracket isn't busted. If it is, that's on you for picking North Carolina. It's North Carolina. You shouldn't have picked them. Why did you do that? I digress. It's just this perfect peak sports time, right? Like we're transitioning into like postseason basketball, baseball starting back up. It's March Madness. It's draft time. Enjoy it while we have it, guys.
Yeah, I saw someone say this is the dead period for the NFL. It's like the NFL dead period sucks. It's like, dude, get in the lab. This is nowhere near the dead period.
No.
All right. That is all for us. Make sure links in the description. Timestamps if you want to go back will be in the description as always. Um, there's a mock draft on this channel already. So go look at
Yes.
that. Um, even if we haven't recorded it yet. That's the fun.
It's
But
fun.
that's it for us. Stick around. Like the video, subscribe, do all that stuff. Ending the video.